Oh, wow. Okay. That didn't take as long as I thought it would because also there's this. It's the slightly informed opinions of Dave, the weed cast. It's super low budget and I don't have a band. I'll just make the instrument sounds with my mouth and my hand. Boom, boom, boom. There's going to be exciting guests and an outrageous co-host. You will find out that this show is the most. I'm gonna do my own thing. It's gonna be super cool. We're gonna have a good time. And if you don't like it, you can respectfully disagree. I'm just kidding. You can suck it. Okay, that's enough of that silliness. Before we get into the podcast, I want to promote a podcast I'm doing Facebook exclusive on High and Tight LLC. Look me up on Facebook. It's Dave's First Five at 7, where I'm calling myself the Rando Commando. So the first 5 people to join my stream can be part of the podcast and share your thoughts with the audience. Won't that be fun? Okay. All right. So moving on, let me switch this up. Boom. Let me move this. There we go. Okay. So thank you and welcome to the podcast. I'm David Huckins. Thank you for being here. This is the Slightly Informed Opinions of Dave, the Weed Cast. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Coming at you at Mo High Tide on YouTube. You can also find me at 420 High Tide on Instagram. And you can search for my Facebook group, High and Tight LLC. I also stream to that. And you can find me on highandtight.com. So look me up on any of those places. Tonight's guest is from Mythic Genetics. We have a guest on who's going to do a giveaway later in the show. So you're going to have to stick around. How we're going to pick people to participate in the giveaway, I think this time is through audience participation. So people that participate a lot in the show and like leave a lot of good comments or ask good questions during the show. We'll pick somebody towards the end of the first hour, and then they'll get to be a part of the giveaway. So we'll get to that. Next, I'd like to introduce my faithful companion and loyal sidekick, Master Yoda. I'll bring him on stage now. Hey, Master Yoda.
What's going on? Happy Tuesday.
Brother, you are looking good without a beard.
Thank you. Yeah, I shaved just for the show. No.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, if you don't shave in the summertime, you have to keep the beard or you'll have a really unfortunate tan line.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So like you have a beard. So if you intend on shaving that beard sometime in the summer because you're like hot and you just don't want it anymore, you're going to have this ridiculous tan line of your beard. So,
and we don't want that.
You don't want that. You don't want
that.
Okay.
So it's a total vanity thing for you, right?
It's more or less vanity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, this was a total shock to me because I only got to see Master Yoda for about 2 seconds before we started the live stream, and I was shocked that he didn't have a beard. This is my first. I'm as shocked as the audience. We're all shocked at the same time at Master Yoda's appearance.
It was a Tuesday surprise.
At first, I was like, "Who is this handsome gentleman that's trying to hone in on my podcast? I don't know what's going on here." Okay, so all right, enough of that. Let's bring on my next co-host, Master Yoda, or I'm sorry, Magnificent Messiah. We'll bring him on now. Hey, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy fucking Tuesday. Love and light.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you doing, brother?
I am doing great, Master Yoda. I almost didn't recognize you, man. I was like, who in the hell is here? In his
place, I'm incognito.
But yeah, man, looking nice. Sharp for the summer, man. Looking sharp for the summer.
I forgot to let you do your any kind of promotion that you wanted to do, Master Yoda, and share your contact info. Do you want to do that right quick?
Sure, you can find me at Master Yoda 207 on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook.
And now Facebook. That's right. I need to update that for you.
Cool.
Okay, so how about you, Magnificent Messiah? Would you like to share your contact info?
Absolutely. Everybody can find me at Dear Owl Family Farms on Instagram, or Magnificent the Messiah on Instagram as well.
Okay.
Website coming soon too, by the way.
I have a website, but it's
DearOwlFamilyFarms.com
terrible.
coming soon.
I'm kind of embarrassed by it. I tell people that I have it, but it really shouldn't be gone to yet.
Work in
Okay.
progress.
Yeah, work in progress. Just like it's a metaphor for my life.
Same.
I hear that.
All right. Okay, so our next guest is the one and only from Mythic Genetics. I'm going to bring him on now. I'll let him introduce himself. Hey, brother, how you doing? Alex
Hey, how's it
Jordan.
going?
What's up, brother?
How's it going, everybody?
Oh, man.
All
Welcome, welcome.
The man, the myth, the legend.
right.
The legend, I wish.
Right.
Hopefully I'll get there someday.
Okay, so I want to remind everybody that there's a giveaway. Alex is going to be nice enough to give away some genetics towards the end of the first hour, and we're going to decide who is the lucky recipient based on audience participation during the show. So I'm going to try and keep an eye on my Instagram and my Facebook to see what comments are flowing through, and YouTube stuff should flow through right to my StreamYard, so we should all be able to see that pretty easily. So let's get right to it. Alex, tell us about your very first cannabis usage, if you would, please. If it's not a private thing that you wouldn't mind sharing with the whole world right now in front of everyone. Go.
My very first cannabis usage, I was 13, 14, somewhere in there. All I really remember is I got caught by my mom.
Ooh.
Buzzkill.
Man.
And I got grounded so fast. Well, I mean, I got caught. It was a few hours after, so I at least had a few hours of enjoyment, and then I went downhill. But yeah, I got grounded and told never to do it again, and I went and bought a bag the next day. And
oh, you stinker!
Good shit.
You
I mean, I was at that
rascal.
age. You tell me not to do something, I'm gonna do it.
Like, listen, Mom, we're gonna lay down the ground rules, okay? Either you put a padlock on the liquor cabinet, or you don't mind if I smoke a little weed every once in a while. But I'm either hitting the liquor cabinet or my bag. You choose.
Yeah, drinking was never really my thing. Pretty much been a smoker for quite a while.
Nice.
Same with me as well. Never been a drinker, really. It was always.
I mean, it got to a point. Hell, once I passed probably 30, it got to a point where I would have 2-3 beers, and then I'd have literally a 48-hour hangover, like just a headache for 2 days after and all that. And I'm just, it's not worth it.
Sure.
No, I was never
not worth it at all.
Well, I drank a fair amount in high school and college. Smoked a little bit in high school, a little bit in college. But I was more of a drinker back then. But I just decided that I didn't want to have alcohol in my life anymore. So, not because it was necessarily a problem. Just because I don't like the way alcohol makes me feel. I don't like the way it makes me feel the next day.
It was for self-improvement.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
As a recovering alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, I would like to say that I love to hear. I'm hearing so much these days about how trendy it is for people to give up alcohol.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, and that's great, man. People should get off that poison because that's what it is. It's just poison. That's why it makes you feel like shit the next day. You poisoned yourself.
It's friggin' evil. I mean, I come from a family, and luckily I didn't get that gene, but I have seen some of the ugly sides of alcohol, and I spent a lot of time in and out of the halls of AA. I would go and I would always like support my father and my brother and stuff, and occasionally I go to meetings with them. And whatnot. But yeah, no, alcohol is it's horrible.
I just can't get over what a dashing chin you have, Master Yoda. I am mesmerized by your visage since you've shaved your beard. You have
Thank you.
definitely have a face for video podcasting, my friend.
Wow, wow, that is a
beard
huge
off.
compliment. Well,
I'm not
it's
even
better
gay,
than-
but I'm thinking about it right now. I hope my wife isn't listening.
Well, thank you for telling me you have a face for radio.
I said for video podcasting. Come on, you're switching it up.
You did say for video.
I heard radio though. I heard radio. I was heard radio though.
No, he said video, but
wow, my boy doesn't even have my back over there. Wow, wow, Alex, my crew's deserting me over here. Wow. So, all right, let's get back to put the focus back on our guest over here. So you're, I don't know. That's a really, I don't know how many of my shows you've seen, but I ask almost all my guests that. I think I asked all my guests that. And the most common age is early teens. So
yeah,
that's quite common for people to have their first cannabis uses. I don't ask about other drugs. Maybe I should. Maybe that's another thing that I should ask about. What other kind of mind-altering substances like alcohol or tobacco or whatever, did you also try? Because I know the first time I tried some chewing tobacco, it was definitely mind-altering. Oh my God. I got head spinning and all tobacco poisoning, puking. Yeah.
Yep. Puking. Yeah, totally.
Okay, so Alex is a teenager buying weed, getting grounded, says F you to society and everything. And so how does your first cannabis usage change your life going forward from that point going on?
I mean, I enjoyed it because I've always I was looking back on it now. I was self-medicating without knowing it.
Sure.
So it was like, large group social situations I had an issue with, that kind of stuff. So it became like I would get anxious at like house parties and that kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay. So I'd go smoke and then I'd be fine and yada. Like, so I don't know if it was like necessarily anxiety undiagnosed at that point, which it's been diagnosed at this point, but whatever. But yeah, it was life-changing in my social life, in a positive way to where I could have more of one, if that makes sense.
So did cannabis cause problems?
Self-medicating.
Other than your mom
not really
grounding you and getting in some trouble that way, has cannabis ever caused you any other problems in life?
Cannabis, no. Other things, yeah, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, cannabis, no, never caused me any issues.
Did you see the episode?
No legal trouble or anything like that.
Did you see the episode we did several weeks ago with the shit show? Those guys.
I don't know if I saw that one.
That was a good one. They talked about overcoming meth addictions and stuff like that through using cannabis, which was a powerful message. And there's a lot of people. I had the Green Angels on. They came on here and talked about, using cannabis as medicine. And man, there's so many powerful stories about how cannabis changes and improves people's lives. I can't believe.
Green Angels,
stuff that we could be doing that we're not doing, especially like through doing hemp. If it was easier to grow hemp and there was more machinery suitable for it in America and so forth, you could make a pair of pants that would last a lot longer and so forth. We got some questions coming in from Frank's Canna Lounge, and he's talking about we were going to get to this a little bit later, but we'll break into it now, and then I'll bring everybody back on topic. Frank's Canna Lounge wants to ask what kind of genetics you got there. F1 unstable, or are you the real breeder who has true stable lines, selected and individual traits? And then he follows that up with, I just checked your website. I see your best as F3, not bad. That's like a year's worth of work. You've got a long journey of it you ahead, Mythic. What do you say to that? Wow.
An F3.
I would say an F3
is not that bad. I mean,
This is like F3 is first off, that's more than a year's worth of work if you're doing it properly, and stress testing all of your mothers and potential candidates and everything along the way. You could do it a lot quicker if you're just grabbing what looks best and going with it. But if you're actually putting in true stress testing to your parents that you're crossing to make sure that they're checking all those boxes beforehand, you're spending more time on your testing. So yeah, F3s on the regs. My Frostbolt that I have, I'm up to F5 on that, but it hasn't been released because there isn't much of a market for regs, unfortunately. So of the femmes, everything, like the parents and everything are worked well and stable. And then when I cross over and do a reversal, I'm also back crossing as well. I don't necessarily put the back cross and all that on the packaging, but to stabilize the feminized version as well. So I'm not taking a fem and then doing fem breeding and breeding fems to F5. I don't see a point in that myself, because you can just get really wonky with mutations and all that when you're doing that much reversal to the same genes.
I would like to say that according to our live feed, we have one viewer. Thank you to our lone viewer. We appreciate your. That's why we do it, for that one person out there that tunes in, that watches the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, all right. Thanks for answering that question. We'll get into some of that, more of that stuff for later, for sure. Let's go from back to Alex Jordan. Using cannabis as a youngster, coming up through your teens, and still using cannabis. Were you interested in like growing or anything like that in your younger days? How did you start getting interested in that? How did that transition start happening?
Well, I started growing right about 18 years ago now, and started some consider it breeding, some don't. Hand pollinating just a branch and doing the old sandwich bag, paper bag method to keep the pollen just on that one bud, just so you have personal seed and all that. I started doing that 17 years ago. So I've been at it for a minute. The company officially formed in 2021, but I've been putting in work before actually forming the company and all that for a few years at that point to get ready for it.
So I gotta ask, I'm always looking, and it seems like I'm always wasting my time. Magnificent Messiah thinks he might be able to help me. I'm always looking for brickweed seeds and real skunk bud from the 80s, and I know you got a big pile of both, and I will gladly accept all the free seeds you'll give me, brother. Thank you.
Skunk, if you're looking for RKS, like the roadkill skunk, join the club. Everybody's fucking looking for the roadkill skunk, brother.
Yep. There they are. Yep. And that's why everybody's looking for it, because I don't think it exists anymore. Or if somebody does have it, it's like, sealed away.
Y'all see soon. Dear genetic lineup coming up soon.
If somebody finds that the real roadkill skunk, that's almost the holy grail at this point again. So
for sure. And I'm always asking for it. I'm always doing my part to try and keep that alive. I'm always asking about it.
If you find it, let me know, man. Because I've been looking too.
The only reason I'm interested in that brickweed is because I want to see what it's like when it's grown and cured and smoked, under optimal conditions, not just, mass produced and smashed in a tube or something and shipped over here, from wherever it's coming from.
That is one thing I do have access to mid-90s brickweed seeds. Not that I can disperse anywhere. Last time that we planted a couple hundred, we only had 4 sprout and survive.
Oh, wow.
Because they haven't been stored. They weren't stored properly or anything for those years. So it's also, we had 4 out of 200 pop and come up.
What'd you get? Males and 2 males, 2 females? What'd you get?
Yep, got 2 males, 2 females.
Oh,
The
wow.
females,
Huh.
grown under optimal conditions, they're much better than what you'd think. I'll have to see if there's any flower of that lying around because a buddy of mine might still have some of that. So I'll see if any of that's lying around and see if I can figure out a way to get some over to you.
Right on. Oh yeah. See, I knew if I just kept asking for years and years, eventually somebody would have a pile of seeds.
Yeah, someone would get the hint.
Yeah.
Master, oh no, that's not. I was about to say Master Yoda. Frank's Canna Lounge had a question.
Yeah, he's got a couple of things. He's mentioned that he's been doing some.
What was his question?
Oh no, that was Master Yoda's question.
Yeah, no, he was talking about
Oh.
breeding the duckfoot line, which I guess
I'm doing the duckfoot.
line is the is that kind of the like the freakish plants, like the he said in his other post the Australian bastard and the freak show and the kind of funky looking ones like that.
Yeah, are you asking? My bad,
Okay,
Master
so
Yoda. You asking what the duckfoot
He's
line
turning
is?
stuff into autos.
Yeah, is that what
Oh
they
yeah,
are?
it's a genetic line where the it's like the leaves look like duck's feet.
Okay, cool.
Right? And Alex, you said you don't deal with the duckfoot line, right? Or do you?
No. It looks like he's taking duckfoot and freak show and all that into making them autos and stabilizing them.
Oh, that's cool. I know that there's a lot of people in the autoflower world that would be very, very interested in that, myself included.
Autos, the reason I don't breed autos is it's such a crapshoot with I mean, you got to pollinate the whole damn room and hope you picked the right male to do it, and then hope the right female's in there, and then all the rest is a waste. Like,
I think
that's the unfortunate side of doing the autos, because you don't know what you're gonna get. You can't clone it to keep it around, so you just got to go and hope.
Oh yeah, that's true.
With autoflowers, I think the people that kind of just breed autoflowers, I think it's I think they tend to have a little more success because they're really kind of they really kind of become experts in autoflowers and what they breed. Because with the photo lines, you can clone and you can back cross with stuff and whatnot. You can use that to sustain lines and whatnot. So I guess with autoflowers, you're kind of breeding to get a bunch of you'll breed and you're looking for a bunch of characteristics, and then you take all the plants that have those characteristics and then breed with those and kind of continue doing that. But then you're always going to have a huge variation of, I guess you would call them phenotypes.
And let's say you got 300 plants going that you pollinate, hoping you get the right one mother. Like, then the other 299 is all waste at that point.
Right.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
So what are you?
That's the downside of doing autos.
Are you not doing any autos, Alex? What kind of stuff are you doing? Feminized plants, or what are you doing?
Yep, I'm doing photo femmes mainly. I've been working my reg lines and stuff in the background and going from there. Because unfortunately the market demand is femmes, so that's what I'm putting out.
I like it when I can get seeds that aren't feminized, just because I want to do my own breeding. You know what I mean?
Yep,
not that I'm going to be a genetic super stud or anything like that. It's just fun for me,
My reg line released 2.5 years ago at this point. 3 years ago at this point. The reg lineup released then, so some of them are still available. Just had 2 of the femmes sold out over this past weekend.
Nice.
The Yeti and the Great Funk are sold out, but
I still
got a couple others.
The website gallery looks delicious, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
delicious.
That gallery is what got Square to shut down my payment back end on the website. So
So
I was like, seeds are legal. Nope,
Right.
they don't care.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. What happened? I missed that. I was busy talking instead of listening.
Now I got to move my website somewhere again because Square shut down my payment back end on there because I had pictures of what the seeds turn into if you were to sprout them.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that can be an issue on Facebook too. Cannabis
Yes, other challenges.
usage or stuff like that. I think a lot of times on Facebook though, it's widely tolerated until somebody complains or until there's some kind of problem. And then Facebook is like maybe
Yeah.
required to take action, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff's automated around keywords that get said in a post or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep, exactly, Frank. Everybody wants feminized, but you got to build a true plant before. Yep, that's why I'm working their eggs in the background, and then those are what's getting put into the fems, reversed and on.
I would think as a home grower, like, so I'm limited by a plant count, right? So like I don't want to, I don't, and I grow below my plant count, but I just grow big plants rather than a lot of little plants. But I would imagine, if you're looking to do like a breeding project, I would think reg seeds would probably be more attractive to you. But I think as a home grower with a plant count, it's like, time is valuable. And like I grow in RDWC, so I'm going to go and I'm going to have my 4 plants ready to go. And then if one turns out to be a boy, I can pull it and then I can try to replace it with something else that's going to be way behind, or I can just not, I can leave that space, empty void. So, that's kind of my issue with the potential risk of growing reg seeds. I mean, I suppose I could always test the plants, but then, and that's probably going to take 2 weeks anyways. So, to send it out and get the results back and stuff like that. So,
you certainly have to send out. Excuse me. What I do when I set my pheno hunts is start everything in their own steps. So whether that's 100, 200, 300, however many of it that I have, then you let them grow in the solo cup and you let them sit in that solo cup about a week or so too long. And then that's going to stress out the bottom a bit. You're going to get a little bit of yellowing on your bottom leaves, but you're going to be tearing those off anyway. But it'll force it to show sex a little bit just from a little bit of stress there. And then you can eliminate the males if you're not looking for males, or separate them if you are. Go along those lines. It doesn't save you time because it adds a week to the process generally because you're stunting the plant a little bit.
Right.
But it does save you money. So
it does save you money. Right. So
this is a kind of a good segue into. Can you walk us through your breeding process? How do you select for your traits, your flavors?
Wait, just to clarify.
Are we getting through?
Just to clarify, you do mean breeding process with cannabis, right?
I do have a child, so.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we're still doing the
because we're in the pants on part of this.
That's right. We haven't entered the pants optional part of the show.
Yeah, we got to be very professional with this here. So we don't want.
And we have not yet seen a cat's butthole, but if that does happen during the show, we're required to everybody consume cannabis. That's the show rule. So all right. So back to your breeding process with cannabis.
Yeah, could you walk us through that a bit?
Yep. Generally, like my absolute minimum on a pheno hunt is 100 seeds. Usually I like to be well over that if I can. It just depends on availability. Like back years ago when I was hunting through peanut butter breath for my frostbolt that I was making, I couldn't find more of Thug Pug's original peanut butter breath drop. After I got to about 105 seeds. of it. I couldn't find anymore anywhere to even get. So that's why that one had to end there. But that's kind of like an absolute minimum for me. Luckily, I found some gold out of that, which was amazing, and got that done. But I do all my own pheno hunts. This upcoming lineup, I made one exception for one pheno from a local guy of something he's had for right about 2 years. I took a cut from him, and I'm going to run that and see what that does and test it out and all that. But yeah, that'd be the only clone I've taken in. Beyond that, it's all me doing all the pheno hunts. I'm still a one-man show at this point. I still hand water everything.
So wait.
And 100% organic.
Talking about a pheno hunt with a couple hundred plants. So,
Yeah.
how many plants are
There's
you growing
photographs
at
at
a
that
time?
point.
And how do you ever get out of the house or the shop or wherever you're growing? You've got to be watering all day long.
I mean, watering that amount doesn't take that long. It sounds, I still hand water, but like they're little solo cups. I can walk by with a 2-gallon jug and just boop, 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 got 30 of them done. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So yeah, and then once I eliminate males, if I'm not looking for them and just looking for the females, then that usually takes it down 50-60% of the plants are out at that point. Then, I mean, unless you get real lucky, but usually I found it to be about 50-60%.
Right. Yeah.
So you get about 40 to 50% females.
When you are looking for males, what kind of qualities are you looking for in a breeder for your males?
I'm looking for the plant structure is a big one that I look for, as well as the node spacing, because that still potentially can carry over if you don't know if it's a recessive or dominant trait at that point. Like the frostbolt I worked with for a while, so I already know what exactly is going to pass on or not. But yeah, it's where was I on that before I got sidetracked by frostbolt?
You were talking about
breeding
no.
So you said the structure, the node spacing.
Oh yeah. Structure, node spacing. You can see some trichome production, some slight trichome production on males, as well as you can get terpene levels off your males, stem rubs, that kind of thing. So I'm looking for specific terpenes when I'm hunting to potentially pass on. I try to make each strain distinct, even though they share a parent. So that's what I was doing with the frostbolt, because I knew that the terpenes weren't necessarily dominant on that, so it adopted a lot of what I was crossing it to when I was feminizing at that point, or actually amplified a couple of them, which that's the grape tank that I had in the reg lineup that I crossed with my frostbolt from the reg lineup made the Great Funk. The Great Funk smelled and tastes like Dimetap. If you ever had that cough medicine growing up, that artificial grape, they call it grape, but it's like a chemically purple. Like that's exactly the nose and taste on it, and phenomenal plant. And that shares the same mother with another, like the Yeti in the lineup is very earthy, piney, like, so it's very recessive on what it passes on or enhances with the terpenes. So I was using that quite a bit to have distinct differences in the product in each different strain, so they weren't all kind of tasting the same but looked a little different, you know.
Have you ever looked to see about hollow stems in male plants? You ever look for that?
I don't personally think that makes a difference.
I've heard some people say that may indicate a higher THC percentage. I don't know.
Yeah, and well, fortunately, I'm not chasing THC percentage. I'm chasing terpene profiles and terpene weights.
Okay.
I did have like the Great Funk, and the Great Funk was tested at 30%. The candied muffins and peanut butter apples were at 26%, and the Yeti was at 24% on THC. I would have been happy if any of those were 20%, if that was the max, just because of the level of terpenes that are in those plants, and that's what I was after. So I'm way more about flavor and enhancing that entourage effect that seems to get lost when you're getting a 30+% plant.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, after about 15% THC, I don't really see much difference to me in the THC high that I get. So when I'm smoking plant material anyway, so I'm really looking more for terps anyway myself.
So can I go back and ask a question?
No, we're way past that. It's too late for
yeah.
that, Master Yoda. Let's just keep going.
Dominant
Of course.
and submissive traits in male plants. Do you notice do you notice that specific traits tend to be dominant or submissive across the board regardless of strain, or is it strain dependent?
Yeah, from the males, you get a lot of your plant structure, meaning your bud spacing and your stem resilience, thickness, all that stuff. From what I've found while I'm doing it, at least. So from personal experience, I've found that those two traits are what seems to want to carry over most from a male. Now having, a bit of trichomes on there, having, any like really good terps on a rub and all that, that's bonus. Look for those too. But yeah, those are two that I've personally, at least in my experience, found that seem to pass.
Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. That's really good information for me. I haven't started. I don't plan on breeding anytime soon, but that just helps me kind of know a little bit more about.
I think everybody should breed plants that work for them.
Yeah.
That was a surprisingly good question.
Being
that you asked, Master Yoda. Usually you just ask some garbage questions. That one was really good. And so not just another pretty face, now actually contributing to the podcast too. Wow. Yeah, he's really coming around this week.
Woohoo! Wow.
Yeah. Everybody should breed. Like if you find a strain that you absolutely love, and I still call it strain, not cultivar. I just been smoking too long to call it a cultivar now at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait.
That was close, but no, it was not.
That was so close.
No,
that was so close.
He is facing the camera, not looking away from the camera.
That's why there's a rule. It happens so often that there needs to be a rule about what happens when that incident occurs. So okay, all right. So back to the show. I got distracted.
But,
Alex, where do you see the Missouri market going? What trends do you see?
I'm liking, dare I say, I'm loving the Missouri market because our senator and our our Missouri House and Senate and all that, they're doing their damnedest not to mess with the laws we have, and the ones that we do have in place are written into our Missouri Constitution, so they're a lot harder to change in the first place.
Yeah.
So they're very kind of let the market do its thing. However, they still want there to be a market, meaning they don't want to hand out another 100, grow facility licenses and all that, because then there's no profit in them when it comes to taxes on sales, and then the whole thing kind of falls apart, and then we end up like so many other states at this point where you can go get an ounce for $20.
And
So
the
they're
flip
making
side-
sure that they're still able to collect tax money and put it in the right spots. So they're keeping the dispensary end of thing in the fully legal market fairly well balanced, at least currently. Now, when it comes to micro licenses and stuff, that's a complete lottery system, and they never say how many they're giving out. They never say any of that vital information for it. And
No, I think they did post how many
Yeah,
each
they do
round.
post how many they're. Yep.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, do
post.
they?
And it's written in the
Yeah, they did
Constitution
post.
too, and the rules. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
There
required
was
to
one. It
issue
might have been the first or
142
second one where
licenses.
they didn't say how many they were giving out.
Did you try to were you interested in applying for a micro license, or did you attempt to were you part of the lottery?
I'm really debating on if I want the extra oversight or not.
We broached this topic on the show last week. There was a guy that we were talking about because Magnificent Messiah and I are both license winners. I'm a dispensary. He's a wholesale. So a grower. He's a grower
Nice.
license in Missouri. And we had a guy on last week's show that was saying that he was considering joining the micro business and trying to get a license, but instead decided to buy a chain of gas stations and sell THC9 and THCA products, and he's making THCA, and he is making $40,000 a month doing that. So unregulated.
Yeah.
And we are so, I mean, everything we do is recorded and watched and scrutinized. Doing it the legal route, there is so much oversight.
There was the Delta 9 and THCA and all that loophole was on our, like, the Missouri Senate floor, and it got bipartisan filibustered and taken off because the reasoning was, well, then there would be no competition for the dispensaries.
Wow. Wow.
I fucking love Missouri, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'd like to remind the
it's
audience
one of those things.
Before we go any further, I'd like to remind the audience that we're going to give away some beans here, and it's going to be based on audience participation. So if you will make a comment, so far Frank's Can Lounge is winning because he's the only person.
So far, you got a little bit of
Yoda and Magnificent. I'm going to make a comment. Maybe I'll win.
Yeah,
I'm making comments too now. I'm in the running. I'm in the running here for sure. I'm definitely number 2. I'm right behind Frank.
Okay.
So you said though,
here's
a minute ago
comment
you
that
said
just came in
that you well actually to stay on topic of what we're talking about right now. Are you do they have like a micro license for breeders? And is that different than a cultivator?
No.
Because you could sell your seeds out of state too, right?
Yeah, so they are thinking about a breeding
I can
license.
sell. Like, the seeds are federally legal.
Yeah,
the seeds are federally legal. And now it's in Missouri. It's
track and trace system because you have to track everything from the time it's sprouted until the time it leaves your door. So I don't know how that would work in the legal system. I'm sure there's a way to do it, and it might be easy, but I'm not sure what the process is.
There's a small loophole in Missouri right now to where you can get your agricultural seed license, which then qualifies everything that you have as hemp until it's flowering. Okay. And then if you're caregiving for X amount of people, you can flower those out or to a certain amount. But that makes veg essentially unlimited because they're not flowering, because they're counted as hemp under that licensure. So that's the little loophole there. Because I eliminate a lot just in veg.
Okay, so in veg, you're looking so if it's not a really good structure, if it's not like, so you really have a list, like does the stem rubs in veg, does that translate anything in flower? Like, can you really tell, like, oh, it smells like this in veg and it will smell like that in flower? Or
it's not necessarily that it'll have the same smell, but it gives me an idea of the ability of that plant to produce a certain level of terpenes if it's already pumping them out early.
Okay, so if it's a stinky girl, then you know she's gonna be a real dirty girl when she crosses over to flowering.
That's one of, I mean, there were about 1,000 ways you could have worded that better, but yes.
Sorry. Yeah,
I
I'm
was thinking
sorry.
the same
We are
thing.
on the pants on. We are on the pants on section
Yeah.
of the show. But yeah.
So
He makes a good point.
Frank did make a good point. He said the males hold a lot of the recessive. A lot of
That's right.
times when looking for certain traits, you'll find them in the males before the females. And
Yep.
this guy from High and Tide, I think, is probably winning the contest. Why is Mythic Genetics so awesome? Is his question. That was
Wow.
amazing. Thank you for that, High and Tide.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's up to the people that grow its opinion of it. I put in the work. I have about 2 years between drops, between releases, and that's pheno hunting. That's um, testing quite a bit, facility testing, all that stuff. So I'm putting in the work to a point where I want this to be a career that in the future, if my daughter's interested in this business, she'll be able to take over at some point. So I'm looking at this as a career, not just oh, I found these 2 strains. Let's throw them together, package them up, and sell them, and not test them like so many others, unfortunately, are doing. So it's one of those things. Being known for solid, stable, good genetics is something I'm going for.
Can I ask?
So then,
How old is your daughter? Ish.
She's 6 right now.
Okay, so at 6. So you're looking long term down the road. You're looking like generational.
Yeah, I still want to be doing this, and
generational company. I think that's awesome.
He's
so
already
you think
I'm
you have to
38.
scale into the legal market to do that?
Right.
I mean, who knows what legalities are going to be at that point? I mean,
right.
It could be wide open and just alcohol at that point, where you can go anywhere. You got an ID saying you're over whatever age, you can do whatever you want. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm wanting the seed company to be a long-term thing. So I'm putting in the work and doing it right, making sure everything's solid and good to go before I put my name on it. I have germination guarantees. I'll replace packs, all that kind of shit. So
I would imagine that the seed production side of the cannabis business is an area where you could probably do extremely well if you've got a good reputation. I mean, like better than like anything else, because you can ship them anywhere. And if you've got sought after genetics, like you can charge a premium, and it's like
that's what it's about right there. Sought after genetics.
I've mainly just grown autoflowers. I'm currently growing my first run of photo periods. But everything up until this point I've grown from seed. And so autoflower seeds, it's like $10-15 a seed generally, if you're getting a good, from a good breeder or whatnot. And that's about the going price. So figure if you're selling like a 10-pack for $100, or 7-pack for $100, and you've got 100 packs, right? That's what is that? $10,000. Off 1,000 seeds, which is kind of not bad.
Alex has already been doing this, for a couple of years. He's probably a multimillionaire by now.
Yeah,
he probably retire. I'm guessing if he wanted to. He's just doing this now for the community.
Yeah. Believe it or not, if we count everything up, I'm still in the red on my company. And the reasoning for this, the sheer amount that when you start up a company, nobody knows who the hell you are or what you got or anything like that. So you have to package up and give away so much so people can run them. Because they'll see like the tester people's pictures and stuff, but that's not enough for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So getting them out there and then word of mouth reviews and all that, like that taking some years. Like
all right.
things are finally starting to turn the wheels and and start bringing in an income to some level. But the company as a whole, yeah, I'm still pretty far in the red right now, but that's the price of trying to do it right and build the dream. Sometimes it's going to be tight for a bit, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
That's right. To build the fucking dream.
Let's try and put you a little bit more in the red now by doing a giveaway. Just give away some of your product for free. Okay, let's do that right now.
Let's do it.
I would like to contribute to your American dream, sir. You have the right to be treated like the rest of us. All right.
See, that's the thing. I don't mind doing it as long as people are going to grow them. Fuck right. Like I'll give away packs, definitely.
Okay, so the only person that's been commenting besides us is Frank, and he said he does not want any seeds. He's got hundreds of seeds. So if you wanted to give some seeds, it'd have to be to one of us. And I'd love to have some seeds, but I can't even grow. I'm in Kansas. And if you gave some seeds to Magnificent Messiah, they might wind up, the flower might wind up in my dispensary one day.
Ooh. Definitely getting into some soil for sure.
And if you gave some seeds to Master Yoda, he would probably definitely grow them, and he may even show that stuff on his podcast. And he's got some friends over there that he does podcasting with. They probably find out all about your seeds too. So
that's true.
I think I'd love to have some, but I think I'm going to defer to these gentlemen over here and see if you want to pass some seeds on to these guys. That'd be great.
Yeah. I'll get them both taken care of.
Okay. All right.
That's
awesome.
You grow, or do you have any seeds that are particularly good hashers?
I'll show you pictures.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Any requests from Magnificent Messiah? What are you looking for? Any specific phenotypes or anything?
I was saying your gallery looks great.
Thank you. I got way more pictures. Like I have a bunch of pictures on my phone that weren't from my garden. That's mainly what I show off as other people's grows of it.
Okay,
because
cool. Right on.
I think it's better to see what they do outside of my bubble. You know what I mean? So it's what they do in outdoor in this state, outdoor in that state, indoor over here, and RDWC over there. Like I got all the different, those.
Frank had some input. He said his plan is to enter his weed in a competition that will really grab people's attention when he takes the first. You know, a lot of people do that. Enter competitions. They have good weed, and then people want to buy that seed or that clone or that whatever, you know, and that's definitely a way to get on people's radar for sure.
Absolutely. You just got to, depending on what state you're in, unfortunately, you do have to be careful which competitions that you go to, because a lot of them mysteriously and magically go to the person running its best friend.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm getting at around. At least in Missouri, I don't know if there's one left that I can look at and say, yeah, that's a legit cup.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
I don't. I've never participated in a Missouri Cup.
Yeah. One of those things.
Large.
I don't know when we launched.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
What the hell happened?
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's from over a month ago. I just bumped my elbow and I went to the ER. This was like the size of a tennis ball a month ago.
Yeah.
And
but that's still huge.
It looks like a fucking third arm, man. What the hell? It's like you're growing another limb.
Right?
I finally
Something's wrong there. You got to go back.
I finally got the VA to call me today, and they said that they were going to schedule an appointment for me in June to look at it. It was the earliest they could possibly see me. So I'll be getting some medical attention for it soon.
This is what you need to do. You need to cut your arm off from above the bump, and then you need to plant your arm in the soil or a cloner, and we'll have a new you grow, and then maybe your arm will grow from that elbow bump.
Okay.
You think?
I have a lot of comments that I'd like to make to that, but none of them are for the pants on appropriate comment section portion of the show. So I'd like to end this part of the show. I'm going to end my Facebook feed now.
Before we end, hold on. Before we end it, Mythic Genetics, we never asked you, how can people find you?
Yeah, true.
I'm on Facebook group, Mythic Genetics, also www.mythicgenetics.com. Also, I think my seeds are, I think they still have a couple of the packs that I'm sold out of over on Silver Star Seed Bank. Trying to think of where else may have them. Bunch of hydro stores and stuff. But yeah, you can get directly at me on Facebook, Instagram, which is Mythic _ Genetics.
I'm gonna go right now.
My Instagram is highly neglected, but I need to get back on top of Instagram.
All right. Okay. All right. I have ended the Facebook stream, which I'm not sure even ever worked properly because it didn't ever look right. And we weren't getting any comments flowing through from Facebook.
Just followed you, Alex. Just let you know. Matter of fact, let me follow you on my other one too.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Love the support.
So, hey, speaking of giveaways, and we have now, do you guys, Magnificent Messiah and Master Yodi, do you want to share your contact information?
Oh, sure. It's Master Yoda 207 at Instagram, X, YouTube, Facebook, pretty much everywhere.
And it is on Instagram, Deer Owl Family Farms or Magnificent the Messiah. Website coming soon, deerowlfamilyfarms.com.
And I'm not going to bother to share my information because nobody's contacted me. Nobody gives a shit. So I'm just not going to waste my time.
Hey, Mythic,
but this is
that
the fire
your
up
logo
part
on
of the
your shirt?
session. So if you got it, smoke it, spark it,
Yeah,
start it.
yeah. If you want to
we
spark
can
up,
start
now's
now.
the time. Yeah, you can curse now. We are officially entered the pants optional portion of the show.
I have
Oh,
forgotten.
my bad. I think I cursed in the first part a little bit. My bad.
Me too, man.
Okay, that's okay.
I do it every time, and I say I'm not going to do it. I try to do better every time, and I fail miserably at it.
That's okay.
Well,
It's a
I've
test.
never
Every time
been
you
the-
get to try again.
I've
You know,
never
if
been
you're
the filter myself
better.
person.
Me neither. But next episode, I'm going to try to do better too. We'll see how that goes.
My wife has been the biggest encourager of me trying to not use so much profanity. And I was, in the military, it's basically encouraged. You know what I mean? It's
Every other
just
word.
part of all your lingo. Or if you're from the street, that's lingo, everything is
Right.
cursing. So it's difficult going from that and learning how to express yourself without using those kind of words and being emotional. Can be challenging sometimes.
Gentlemen, I'd like to say there's actually a study out though that shows that those who cuss more are actually more intelligent. Check it out. Google it. Don't believe me. Check it out. So
Okay.
I've heard that too.
Is it more intelligent, or I thought it was more honest?
it could be both.
I thought it was people that cuss more or more honest. I didn't know it was more intelligent.
But have you heard both? I've heard intelligent for sure.
Yeah, I have
The
heard
last
intelligent.
study I read was about in the comparison for intelligence.
When I start having a conversation with somebody that starts using the profanity, I usually just start tuning it out and trying to figure out a way to disengage from the conversation and go somewhere else that's more pleasant.
Really?
Yeah.
You never told me that as much as we fucking talk, man.
Yeah.
That you don't listen to me half the time. Then I'm cussing
What?
and wish you was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Ain't that nothing? I'm just hearing that. Like that's a shot to my heart right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was somewhere else right now, in fact.
Wow.
God damn, I'm leaving, man. I don't even want this abuse no more.
Speaking of
I
that, we never
don't
did
need
it.
this shit in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. If the only person that's abusing you and
I'm trying to stand up a cannabis company, man. I don't need no more stress and headaches. Shit, it's hard enough.
Yeah.
Man, I have such stressful days, Sometimes
Man,
I'm just like, I don't even want to get out of fucking bed. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to make any phone calls. I don't want to ask anybody for money today. I don't want to talk about business.
I've never been so busy or popular in my life. I think this is the most busiest and popular I've been in my entire life. And I've been pretty
5 viewers that agree with you.
Are you guys all in Missouri?
No, I think they are.
I'm not.
Just the greatest
Oh,
ones. on
Dave,
the
you're
call.
in Tennessee, right?
I'm in Kansas. I'm in Leavenworth, just across the border. That's why there's no
yeah.
consumption or.
Yeah, just like I said, Alex, just the greatest ones on the call. You and I, sir.
There you go. I
Yeah.
was gonna say, if you're anywhere near Farmington, Missouri, I planned some events too. So I got one called Cannacraft in Farmington, Missouri on May 31st.
Man, we forgot to
Really?
promote that. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, I'm there.
It's all
Man.
good.
Send me that info. Wait, do you
How
post that
far
on
is that
Gram
from?
when that event's coming up? Do you post about that?
It's on Facebook everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll post it on Instagram. Like I said, my Instagram is highly neglected.
Facebook. Dare I say what I want to say? I don't want to affect high and tight podcast, but man, I don't know. Facebook don't like me. My name, they don't like my name or something. So I can't.
He's
I haven't
old.
even
The
tried
truth
to
is,
use a
he's
fake
old and he
name,
doesn't
and they know
understand
it's me or something.
technology. He can't understand how to create an account. He can't figure it out.
I've even used a different name and requested it, and they denied me. They're like, "I think you're Magnificent Messiah, Mr. Joe Smith. No, you can't have an account." Like,
Right.
what the fuck? How, like, so yeah, unfortunately. But I hear Facebook's just for old people anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it kind
I
of
feel
is.
like I'm old.
Yeah, kind of is. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm still young.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm on that
Shit,
borderline.
I'm only 38 and I feel old.
Huh.
You still
38.
plenty-
Wow, you look really old. I thought you
Yeah.
were much older than that.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah, he's supposed to
you're so
insult the
kind.
guests, man. God damn.
You're so kind, dude.
Damn, you're flirting with our co-host,
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
chins, and
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you're dissing our guests,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah.
what the hell's going on here.
I'm trying to keep
I
it more
played,
entertaining this week.
I
I'm trying to
played
stay more
15
engaged.
years. I played 15 years of hockey, so my hips, shoulders, all that are just fucked. So
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
What position?
69.
center.
Center. Okay. Nice. Because you look pretty big, so but
I
now
stand my big ass in front of the goalie and get the rebounds.
yeah. But not an enforcer
Yep.
though. Or were you an enforcer?
I had my moments.
Okay.
I wasn't really. It was more like people could chirp me and do whatever all day. It was more of like if you hit my goalie, you do that kind of stuff, I'm on your ass. But like,
Right.
other than that, no.
Yeah. I never played hockey, but boy, we used to get season tickets to the it used to be called the Sound Tigers, which is the minor league team for the Islanders.
Triple A
So it
team.
was great. And although I used to be a Rangers fan, but I've changed my affiliation to the Islanders because
How dare
it's
you
like
on
once
both
you
of
start seeing
those?
your players, work their way up to the major leagues, you kind of like, yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of have to support my team now. But the best place you can ever get in a hockey arena is right in front of the glass on any one of the corners. And that is the best place you can sit to watch a hockey game. So,
Yeah, oddly enough, I don't like being that close at a hockey game.
Well, I was gonna say unless you're in a suite, because if you're in a suite, you know what I mean.
Not even then. It's like being that close, like you can't see what the hell's going on at the other end.
When
You know what I
stuff
mean?
is going on at the other end, you can't. But normally, all the action happens in the corners. All the big hits. The
Yeah, true.
You can see all four
you're able
corners
to
from
see
the
the goals on that side.
Yeah,
So
you can't. I usually like being close to the front of that first deck up.
okay.
So you get you're still close to the front, but you're like over it, so you get more of a down view.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a good place to be too. But I mean, for the sheer seeing the hits and whatnot, it was a great place.
Yeah. Just in case the St. Louis Blues are ever watching this podcast, I'd like to say again for the record,
I think
like
David's elbow is making an
to
appearance.
watch the game. By the way, St. Louis Blues. If you ever,
boy, that is
please. Sweep me.
You know, if
Magnificent
people are really
Messiah.
concerned about my elbow and they have a Facebook page, they can follow out all about it because it has its own Facebook group.
So I've been
Dave's
told.
Elbow Chronicles.
Wow.
Dave's Elbow Chronicles.
I thought you were just putting that on your page. I didn't realize that you had that it had its own.
My
How
elbow
did
has its
you
own
get this
group.
pages so easily?
The
What the
elbow's
hell?
got its own group.
Yeah. So many people were concerned about it. I was like, this is blocking up all the traffic on my regular Facebook. I got to form a new group for this. I have like 22 loyal followers that expect, quality content, daily updates, and they like to know about, what's going on with the elbow. It's going to require surgery. I hope to be able to record the surgery while I'm being operated on. So that would be an interesting podcast.
Are you serious? Do you think they could? Do you think you could do that? I mean, would that be
No.
like just like
No, they would never let me do that. No.
Like, no.
I would love
no,
to do that though. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask the doctor if they would never let me do that.
Hell no. They're not
Gonna be
gonna
awake
let
for it?
Probably not. I don't know.
No.
It's supposed to be a bone spur problem. I don't know if they put you to sleep for that or not. I think they gotta open you up and grind
That's a second arm growth.
Yeah,
It depends how involved it is, and judging by that lump, it's involved. So,
yeah.
Hey,
just wait. In
back.
another week or two, it might even start growing some fingers and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Get a second opinion.
Yeah,
that thing looks like in a minute it's gonna be reaching for you.
Yeah,
shit. That's the twin that you swallowed in the womb's finally starting to grow out.
Right, it's gonna like have a little tooth on there, but some hair pop out.
I'm gonna
have to start shaving it.
Ever have been abducted by an alien?
I did a video on my Facebook page where I put two googly eyes above it.
I saw
and then
that.
Drew a face on it with a marker and said some jokes and stuff. Yeah, because I'm hilarious.
So is there?
We got 9 viewers now. Wow.
What's that?
Do you do any, Alex? You do any collabs or anything with any Missouri breeders? Any other Missouri breeders or Midwest breeders?
I'm about to be doing one with a guy that doesn't have a company or anything. He's a buddy of mine that's been breeding this strain for the last 8 years or so. He kind of bred it for himself, and he's gonna essentially let me get a cut and do my magic with it, and he and I will work out something on the back end for it and all that. But that'll be the first collab. I've been talking to Jeremy of Elevated STL for a bit. He and I may end up getting together at some point soon. He'll be at the event on May 31st, also at Canacraft.
Oh, I wanted to ask, how far is that from Kansas City?
About 4 hours.
Oh crap!
4.5.
Way for me. Oof.
Yeah, that's a ways.
Yeah,
this is the other side of the state. This is an hour south of St. Louis.
I'd love to support you, but I don't know if I can make that one, brother.
Oh, I understand that completely.
Maybe if I got a sponsor.
Right.
There you go.
But yeah, I've been talking to him a bit about putting something together between us, and we'll see if that happens soon.
Okay.
Right on.
But beyond that, I mean, I got a couple people that are like dream level that I'd love to work with, but I don't even think I'm on their radar. So,
oh, really? Huh?
Have you
like Clearwater Genetics? I would love to work with Clearwater.
Really?
Well, let's get them on a podcast then.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. I actually have an in with them through my buddy Ronnie at Brooklyn Boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should be able to get in contact with them, but if they want to collab with somebody that's still small potatoes at this point, we'll see.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Just about everybody I ask, no matter how popular or how much they got, they seem like everybody wants to be on a podcast for some reason. Almost nobody ever says no.
Great publicity.
Yeah.
So what are you specifically breeding for? Or what? I think you said terps. So are you?
But it's terpene profiles that all work for. Like I have anxiety and panic disorder.
Okay.
So I stopped taking Xanax and all kinds of shit when I started actually tailoring what I was smoking to what I need and avoiding certain terpenes and all that. So I breed what works for me and hope other people like it too. But that's still a wide variety of terpenes. I really only avoid lemon or limonene.
Okay.
That's the
That's
main
cool.
one because that one puts me in my head. So and that's the last place you want to be if you got anxiety shit going on is in your
One of
head.
my
So
favorites.
Yeah, fair enough.
some people it's their favorite. That's just that's a terpene profile that I avoid.
Really?
Now, do you breed mainly like hybrid or indica dominant, or do you
They're going to be
breed
indica
any-
dominant hybrids. Yep.
Yeah. But are they indica dominant, but yet not necessarily lock you in the couch? You can still be functional
Right. Yep.
and get shit done.
I mean that's a tolerance dependent thing too for people, but yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. My God, I could have
Yeah,
muted.
but
while
I love when
Oh,
breeders breed for specific things or ailments or something like that because
That's what I breed for. I don't advertise it that way necessarily, but yeah, I'm mainly chasing distinct terpene profiles is what I'm after.
right. There's a breeder that actually I've wanted. He breeds both photos and autos, and I've been hoping he would convert this into an auto.
That's
But he hasn't done
converting
it.
a photo
Now,
to an auto is a process.
yeah, but now that I've started to grow some photo periods, I can now now my mind is open to growing it, and it's the strain is called the sauce. And it's great for migraines. And I would just love to grow that and have that on hand. Just I have a friend of mine that has migraines, and he's not really into cannabis. And I think it would be a great way to kind of open the door to him as like, hey, this can be a medicine. And it's not this scary evil thing.
And there's a lot of people, especially I've found the older generation. There's a lot of people that don't really want to smoke anything. They'd rather, edibles or tinctures or whatever it may be, or
suppositories.
that kind of thing.
Magnificent. That is looking fire.
Speaking of suppositories, I just saw that those actually exist a couple weeks ago. I was just good Lord.
That's really a thing, yeah. Transdermal
Dude, that was only 2 weeks after I figured out that there was a infused lube. I was just like, good Lord.
They even have some sex lubes and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, infused lube. I was just like, what the hell is happening?
I would imagine that the lube probably doesn't do anything unless it's either touching a mucous membrane. I would imagine if you just put it on your skin, it's probably you're not gonna feel anything. Now, if it goes
that's why it probably goes rectally, is my assumption.
Other orifice, I would imagine then you would probably be able to get effects, but
yes, the back door specifically would be my assumption.
Yes, probably. Yeah, that would probably be a good way to feel effects. Absolutely, that would be right in the bloodstream.
My good friend and a past guest on the show, Montana Collins, says the sauce strain has helped her with anxiety and depression in the past.
There you go. So she must be familiar with BGG. So yeah, that's a great a great strain. I'm really looking forward to getting some of those seeds at some point and growing that out.
If you're looking for one that, at least out of, shameless self plug here, the peanut butter and apples out of my fem lineup is one of my go-tos for when I'm having anxiety issues and stuff. I mean,
Okay.
they all work definitely, but they all definitely work. But I always find myself going back to that one.
Peanut butter and apples. Does it taste like peanut butter and apples? Because that sounds like a lovely
It's
mix.
peanut butter breath.
Oh, it sounds delicious.
It's very peanut butter breath up front.
Okay.
Sorry. Very peanut butter breath up front. I'm sure you smell peanut butter breath.
Yeah.
And then on your exhale, it's either a sour apple or a like sweet musky.
That is wicked awesome. Does that
It's one of those terpene profiles that you can feel it. Like, you ever inhale a plant and then you kind of feel a little bit of a tingle in your nose almost?
Yeah.
It's one that hits like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Profound.
Yeah. Does that strain happen to wash well?
Yes, it does. Yep. They're all good washers. I think the lowest washer I had was the Yeti, but that one sold out anyway. So
Right.
that was my strongest candidate for outdoor folks, which is why that one went quick as well.
Right.
Had a few people that were growing them outdoor, and a buddy of mine grew some outdoor in the valley we're in, where I live, and we often get like straight line 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh wow.
None of the branches broke, but the plant tore out of the ground by the roots.
Holy cow! I mean
So-
that tells you someone that you got a strong plant growing there.
Yeah, the stalk on it just gets massive as she's going.
So
Now,
if I said I wanted to put your go-to into the Missouri market on the green side, what would be your go-to strain?
I'd probably be sending you the peanut butter apples.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's the one that would have to hit the market to represent Mythic Genetics.
Yep, that, or I would say the Great Funk, but that one sold out. But I do still have I do still have a little bit of that, so I might be able to. I keep some behind, I guess is the way to put it. So maybe I'll send some of that to you.
Okay. All right. We got a lot to talk about then, my man. I'm looking forward to the beans, man. We're working on a new project now, but we got a small but a little indoor grow as a side project. This is a family really project that we're doing. So
there you go.
But it's going to work as a kind of a tool for Deer Isle. So at least in the startup launch phase part. So yeah,
nice.
Looking forward to it.
Oh man, I was supposed to do this for the pants optional part of the show.
You must be new around here because I know all the ladies.
There you go.
You got to get it talking. Saying it's the pants off session.
Yeah.
There's another one I did. I was trying to do another one today. I'm working on another one, but I have two that I do right now. This is
Here comes Carl. He's gonna do it again. Oh, Carl, come on. That was so 1980s, man. Stop.
Carl the Rude Goat.
So when you breed, do you breed? Are you basically breeding indoors, or do you breed indoor outdoor, or do you breed for both?
I'm all indoor.
Right.
I'm all indoor, but there is intention behind at least one of each lineup to be effective or very effective outdoor.
Right.
Granted, they've all been grown outdoor and did just fine, but different climates and different wind speeds and what storms and stuff and humidity levels that you're used to do kind of change what I would recommend for people.
Okay.
Missouri's always a rough one for outdoor because we'll get a week on end or 2 weeks on end where we're at 90+ humidity outside.
Yeah.
So you gotta have something.
Yeah.
The weather's crazy.
So what do you do at that time? I mean, I guess you're just running a DQ and some air conditioners. and hoping for the best, and some fans.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with keeping my climate pretty well dialed in, give or take 5 degrees or 5% either direction.
Right.
Um,
I just so I just got this new controller for my tent, and granted, I'm growing 4 plants and different scales, but I just made a switch the other day, and I switched from using
about it.
a temperature as a trigger, and I switched to using a VPD as a trigger, and it just maintains me in a good VPD. So now it doesn't matter what the humidity or the temperature is. If it gets hot, I've got a humiditor that can bump up the humidity, or I've got a DQ that can kick on or whatever, and the factors that I can control. But
What system are you using,
what
Master Yoda?
temperature?
it's a AC
Is it the odd question? What
controller
temperatures are
for
you
AI-based
running?
controller. Sorry, Mythic.
What temperatures are you running in your bedroom and flower? Or I guess you're in one tent, but what temperatures are
So
you
I'm in
running in
one
the tent?
So right now I'm at like I've been around like 77 ish. 75, 77 ish is kind of my lights on temperature.
And veg?
But once I get into flower, it's gonna heat up. And
Yeah.
and that can change. I mean, my tent got up to 90 today.
Are you
briefly.
organic?
No. I am RDWC. So I am.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah,
Say that.
I am
My
married to the bottle. But Magnificent Messiah is hardcore living soil,
Hardcore.
organic.
I will
I'm
be
all
too.
organic.
eventually.
Yeah. And I think my first grow was organic, and it was a good grow, and I had a great yield, but I couldn't deal with the bugs. And then I went to cocoa, and
Well, you weren't
if you
using
overwater
beneficial bugs
cocoa, you
too
can
then.
get fungus gnats, and then now it's like there are no bugs. If there's bugs in there, that means I brought them in.
That means
So,
there's a problem. Totally.
yeah.
No, totally.
So,
Yeah, you gotta accept that the bugs are part of the ecosystem.
yeah,
So, but no,
yeah.
and totally in home grows, a lot of people don't want to deal with that. So it's understandable.
Get
I've had experience in all
for
styles, so-
organic.
What was that?
Get
What?
TE Organics, Bugnetics from TE Organics.
Okay. I'm hoping
It's well, it's not going to work in a hydro system, but for soil, it's biochar that is harboring all kinds of beneficial nematodes. It's got your predator mites and multiple different species of predator mites. It's got your what the hell are those called? I forget what they are off the top of my head, but it's got everything in there, and it comes in a biochar as well, which is also excessively
That's great.
beneficial for your soil to begin with.
Yeah,
Is that
totally.
And
the
it takes
biochar
care
is
of all
not
the
bugs,
bugs.
right?
What brand did you say?
It's TEO Organics. It's called
The fish shit,
Bugnetics.
right?
They are
It's not the fish shit.
no, they're not fish shit. They use some fish shit in some of their recipes for stuff, but they also have like a straight biochar.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
amended with fish shit and a few other things. But his name's Clayton Neidig. He's local here in Missouri. But
I
really
met
good dude.
him. I need to get him on a podcast.
We have
I need
a
to get-
proprietary soil blend coming out, so I'll definitely look him up.
Oh,
There you go.
Nice.
speaking of
Yep.
getting people on the podcast, let me change gears for a minute.
Like,
Master
I can
Yoda,
get
if you
Clayton
wanna-
on here if you want. I'll send him a message.
Oh yeah, right
What's
on.
it do?
Clayton Neidig, he's the owner of TE Organics. Does the biochars and bugnetics and all that kind of stuff, and he's got some tea bags out now. But he's local here in Missouri and doing it well.
Master Yoda, if you ever want to bring a guest on the show, you can propose a guest for the show if you like.
Okay.
Magnificent Messiah's got a couple guests that he wants to bring on, and if you want to take the lead and be the host on the show sometime, I might consider that also.
Okay, cool. All right, there. Let me put some feelers out and see if I can get some interest.
Speaking
yeah,
of
the seasoning.
Speaking of guests on our show and so forth, it's worth mentioning that we started off with Master Yoda, GI Genetics, another friend of ours that does genetics, and Madman Plant. And those two gentlemen are no longer able to be on the show. They may be on the show again sometime in the future, but those guys are not part of the show for the foreseeable future. So, but they're always welcome back anytime in the future.
They have a lot going on.
Yeah.
They have a lot going on. I know
So,
GI I think is traveling with work, and and Madman is well, he's going out to California tomorrow.
Sure. Yep.
For the
they both got a lot going on. So.
Autoflower Cup. So he's going to be a judge.
Just for audience members that might wonder what's going
from
on.
Missouri? Are they from Missouri or
no? No, that's in California. That's in LA.
Both of them they're from LA?
No, those guys are from Virginia.
Oh, Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if they were Missouri folks or not.
Yeah.
No,
shout out to all the Missouri folks.
So, yeah. Both of you.
Oh, yes.
He's got the guns.
Yeah.
He's got the guns.
Shout out to the Missouri folks. You know what I'm saying?
Like born and raised.
Born and raised, baby. Born and raised.
So, Magnificent Messiah, are you going to follow the trend and shave your beard next week? And then I'll shave my beard the following week. What do you say?
Whoa. Yeah. No. Magnificent's been growing that beard for a couple of years.
Man, we're going too far with the antics. Here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm thinking about getting a black strip down my beard right there. That's what I'm thinking about doing.
All right.
I'm thinking about getting a Brazilian wax job done. I might share that with the audience.
Really? On your beard or like
as long as you tuck it back.
Oh yeah, on my genitals for the pants optional part of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to clean yourself up for it. I get you.
I need to announce that at the beginning of the show because
we got a bloke on from Australia.
Oh man!
Welcome down under. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Shout out to you.
Wow,
that is wild. And awesome, now we are now an international podcast.
Yeah,
we're an international. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
I think there are actually Mythic Genetics currently being grown in Australia.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. That's big.
Oh, if you would have been here earlier, we had a seed giveaway. Too bad you missed it. But hopefully we'll have more giveaways in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of giveaways, I always wanted to ask you, Magnificent Messiah, when you did your giveaway, there were several people.
Every Tuesday, Hook. Oh, my bad. I'm talking to the audience.
Okay.
My bad.
When you did your giveaway, was there something that you wanted to, or there were supposed to be some audience members that were going to get shirts from you? Did they ever contact you to get shirts?
Not to my knowledge. No.
Right. Yeah. I always wondered about that.
No, not to my knowledge. Now that you said that, I'm going to check right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to check live right now. Let me see. Let me
get more shirts made. Look, that's on my list of to do also.
I might give like I have a YouTube channel called Not Nuts where I haven't done any content on it for years, but I used to do a lot of paracord knot tying videos. So I make all kinds of crazy stuff out of paracord, and I might give a bracelet or something away as a giveaway next week or something. Nobody else has anything to give away.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Dear Owl Family Farms, Hook on Instagram. Shoot me a DM, and I'm gonna send you in Australia some merch, man. I'm gonna send you some merch, some Dear Owl Family Farms merch. But nobody did. I checked.
Represent in Instagram.
On Instagram.
Let's say, do they grow?
Yeah, he's a grower. He says he grows new genetics.
The one legal territory in Australia.
That's true. That is true.
What was that?
There's
Master-
one legal area in Queensland, but I could be way wrong, because maybe Queensland is the only town I can think of right now. But there's like
Instagram
one
probably knows the answer.
territory or state or area of Australia where I believe it's legal.
School us, Hook, because I am unfamiliar with the Australia market whatsoever.
It's
That's hooking. That's exactly what I run into. Is like with all the breeding all the time. It's like I have a whole stash box full of packs of like stuff that I want to run that I have, but I just
okay.
I can't dedicate space that I'm using for breeding to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's one of those, unless I can expand or something soon, then I might be able to pull like a little corner off of stuff I just want to flower out for myself or something of other people's stuff. But that's the problem I've been running into too. Like,
really? So, well, are you, so can you grow at least a little something at your house for personal?
I mean, yeah, but then I'm like, I don't know. It's already, it's like a whole nother garden to take care of.
Yeah, I hear it. You know, it's like you're working all day and then you're going home and you're bringing the office home.
Right. It's like it's a whole nother garden to take care of at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you know, that's funny you say that, because when I was getting into the micro business arena, when I was submitting my application, I didn't have any industry experience and I wanted to grow. I had some grow experience and I wanted to get some industry experience. So I went to someplace not too far from the Kansas border, and I got a job working in the industry, working at a grow facility for about 6-8 months. And it was during that time when I was observing all of the stringent state rules and all the things like that these guys have to adhere to. When I was like, you know, all this stuff is going to take the fun out of growing for me. I'm going to have to do all these rules. I'm going to have to do what everybody else says. I'm going to be able to do it this way, that way. And I'm like, that's just going to take the fun out of it for me. I think I'd rather just do a dispensary and then get a personal license and grow for fun, you know? So I get it.
Yeah. It's still fun. Like, I enjoy the pheno hunts. I enjoy all of that. And yeah, I get plenty of flour from the pheno hunts and all that. But like, there's still like,
no worries, Hook. Anytime,
I have old packs of Gauge Green Genetics up there I want to run. I have old packs of like so much stuff that I would love to run on the side just to have, like just to smoke. But yeah, it's just dedicating room to it right now. Just it's not a thing.
I'd love to just be able to grow my own medicine. You guys are so lucky. You don't know how it is.
Space, so if you got some beans you really want to pop, you just let me know.
What's that?
So and I know that
I got some space for some new beans.
David, I know you want to have in your shop. You kind of want to, although you can't tell them specifically this strain will help you with X. You can kind of have an area, maybe a library or an area where they can kind of do the research for themselves, or you know, kind of have the bud tenders say, well, this strain, you know, really helps me with my anxiety.
Right. You can give anecdotal evidence like that, but you can't say that this has been shown clinically or you can't sell it as if it's medicine or that it has any medicinal properties. You know, you could say some people, you know, I've done this, and X has happened when I try this thing. We've had other customers that come in complaining of not being able to sleep, and they try this product and they seem to like it. Maybe you can say those kind of things, but there's a language that you can use without, you know, that's kind of in a gray area. But and you definitely have to say the right things, because the state is watching and listening all the time.
What you mean by listening?
Could help.
They have microphones in the shop.
What it's going to be.
You are required by law to have 2 cameras and microphones in every room in your dispensary except the bathrooms. So yeah, and the state has access to those cameras and can log into them at any time and monitor you. Or they can come into your facility and say, we want to see this particular camera And you have to have like, is that a cat? Oh, that's almost a cat's butthole.
That's a kitten.
Oh my-
60
That
days.
kitten is adorable.
Yeah.
Hey, 3 weeks old.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Hookstagram said he cannot accept any merch for some reason at this time, and he also said he created a line called Super Chilean Pink, and he works with ABC Australian-based cannabis hybrids.
There you go.
Well,
Cool.
glad you're here. Thanks for
Nice.
participating. Did you get to see the full show, or are you just tuning in now? While we wait for a response, let's everybody just go ahead and take a consumption break here.
Yeah.
Or did you guys hear about those new corduroy pillows that are really making headlines?
Corduroy pillows?
Good Lord.
Yeah, they're making headlines.
Good Lord.
Oh, that was slick.
I gotta give me.
I like how you snuck that joke in.
That was awesome. That was probably my best dad joke I've slipped in a podcast
That
so
was
far.
smooth.
See, I just started pulling the annoying one on my daughter where she's like, "Hey dad, I'm hungry." And I'll go, "Hi hungry, I'm dad."
Oh boy, that's fun.
And then that goes down a whole different, yeah, it keeps going for a bit. It gets really annoying for her, I'm sure.
I wonder what time it is. Montana Collins said she didn't really get the joke at first either. It was a good delivery though. So
It was a very good delivery.
Hookstagram. He just found our channel at the last minute, so he's just tuning in now. And the topic for tonight was Mythic Genetics. Alex Jordan, he's a guy that does his own line of genetics. So we've been talking with him about his cannabis use and kind of what's brought him up to the point where he's breeding his own plants and selling those online and having some success with that business. Even though he's in the red, we're trying to help him be further in the red by giving away some of his seeds on the show tonight.
Now,
That's the cost of the unfortunate cost of starting a seed company when there's no real good way to market anything other than word of mouth in this industry.
Sure. Yeah.
So unfortunately, you gotta give away a whole bunch. People grow it, see you're solid, and then go from there.
Well, the 3 people that are watching this show, maybe one of them will buy some seeds. I hope. Please, everybody, buy Mythic Genetics seeds. Thank you. If you want to support my program,
I appreciate it, but definitely not a requirement. I appreciate it though.
do you I just lost that question.
Speaking of that, I cannot stand Russian dolls. They are so full of themselves.
They really are.
Yeah. Is it themselves or different versions?
Different versions of themselves.
Clones. Did I read that one for you?
If you guys wanted to tell a joke, I guess we never got to the formal joke telling part of the show, but if anybody has a joke they want to tell now, it'd be a good time.
Where can we buy
Montana
seeds?
Collins, that's a great question.
Where can we buy seeds? You can either go to mythicgenetics.com.
Yep.
Then the payment back end is down right now. However, there is a contact us form, and you can kind of just put in exactly what you want, and then I send a invoice through QuickBooks essentially, and then get it done.
Montana,
that's my little workaround there while the payment system's messed up. But it's all through the LLC and all that stuff.
Montana and her dad and her grandpa were on an episode a few weeks ago. 3 generations of potheads, and her dad and grandpa grow out there, and they just got some GI genetics I sent out there to them, so they'll be drawing some Tropical Trooper and some other stuff. There's another kitty. What a cutie!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Same litter. They keep climbing up my legs. They're running around now.
How many kittens do you have? in the litter?
Well, there's two mama cats, right? And they both were pregnant. One of them had 4, the other one had 3 a week later. So there's 7 running around here right now.
Wow. Wow.
But
And are you trying to find homes for them, or are you gonna keep them?
no, most of them already have homes lined up. It's just a matter of them being old enough to
go?
not need mama.
Yeah, yeah.
Madman Plants joined in the chat, and he's talking about Tropical Trooper. That's a strain that our friend from GI Genetics runs. That's one of his popular strains.
Yes.
There you go.
I have some of those seeds. Once I move to Missouri, I'm going to pop those beans. Those are going to be some of the first ones I grow. Can't wait.
Where Missouri you heading to?
What's that?
What side of Missouri you heading to?
Wherever I finally be able to set up a brick and mortar for my dispensary, someplace close to that. So, and I'm limited to Missouri's Congressional District 4. And to be more specific, right now I'm thinking Kansas City area, Kansas City, Missouri area, obviously.
Right. Why would you be limited to District 4?
Because you have to declare that during the application process, what congressional district license you're applying for.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they issue so many licenses per congressional district in the lottery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to pick which one you want to be in.
That way, I guess they're trying to say that way there's a more even spread across Missouri, but it doesn't really work that way because some areas have a big, huge area, and some of those districts are tiny, So,
right.
But it does kind of help make it more fair a little bit, I guess.
Now, when it comes to producing cannabis, Magnificent Messiah, do you have to source your seeds from a Missouri breeder?
Good question.
No.
That's a great question.
Seeds are
first year.
Sorry.
We have that's okay. You asking me, right? Or am I tripping?
Well, anyone, but yeah.
So for the first year, we have like a forgiveness period or a grace period. We can literally get our seeds anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Is that for your first year from the start of commencement or from when?
Yep, from commencement.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep, from
commencement. So, and commencement means when you've got your business built up to the point where you're ready to start conducting business legally. Yes. So the state comes in and they do a big inspection and make sure you have all your stuff in a row and your securities cameras are in place and all that. So,
yep, absolutely.
And that includes them being able to pull in clones and stuff from other states and all that stuff. Like it's not just limited to seed. They have a grace period for all that.
Yep. So he's totally right.
And then after that,
nothing more than like 8 inches, I think they said, 8 to 10 inches, I think. But we can bring in clones.
Okay. Now, and then after that grace period of that year, then you're restricted to breeders from within the state.
Correct. Unless we have our own
unless you're doing it in-house.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because
Missouri's got some solid breeders here.
I totally agree with that.
That's not me patting myself on the back. That's Elevated STL. That's Kindway Farms. I could keep going on the list of people that are doing it right.
Yep, the Elitist brand.
Now, why do you think in specific that Missouri? What's the secret sauce? Like, is it? Because obviously, all these breeders probably came from the traditional market. Because they must have learned how to grow somewhere. So
or from the birth of the medical market here in 2018,
or the birth of the medical market.
Yeah. I mean, some can say that, but it's generally a bit before that is when most of us started. But
maybe a little bit of both. But we just talk about the medical market. But
right.
Yeah, that's funny that you make that distinction because I was just thinking about that the other day. That Magnificent Messiah and I are trying to enter the legitimate cannabis market, and that's such bullshit because all of us are criminals.
Right.
We're all criminals. If we use cannabis in any way, according to the federal government, we're all made to be criminals. So,
Right.
what legitimate cannabis
Yeah,
market are we
currently.
in?
Right.
There's levels, I guess there's from the unregulated to the THCA market, all the way up to what Magnificent Messiah and I are trying to do, and other stuff too.
Oh, totally. Well, even the comprehensive licensees. I mean, we're all federal criminals.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
People. We make so much money, and you get so much, notoriety or whatever. But they could come and shut any one of these brands down.
Well,
dispensaries, cultivation facilities, just like that, if they wanted to. So
just like, and I don't want to make this political, and it probably will because I make the reference, but if you had a president that comes in that feels the same way about cannabis that Trump feels about immigrants, there could be a freaking roundup. There could be a reckoning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true.
There could be a reckoning.
At least in Missouri, we are a Republican-led everything here in the government. And they're very much states' rights. We voted on it, so they protect it.
And it's in the Constitution. So the federal government would have to come and say they don't respect the Missouri Constitution, and that would be a big problem.
That would be that's an override that would start so much more worse things.
Something came across my desk, I think this morning or yesterday morning, that said the new administration has hinted at a potential violation of that, dealing with a dispensary.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
They are.
There's a case in like Maryland, I think this is. But yeah, I just perused the article. I didn't fully read it. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting back to it. It's on my
Was that on like the marijuana moment or something, or?
I want to say yes. I want to say you're dead on. I think that was on Marijuana Movement.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I have a tab. I don't know if I could find it.
Shout out Marijuana Moment. You guys are awesome.
From my understanding on a lot of that, the federal government's stepping in where they're finding that licenses have lapsed, or there was and still in operation, or people claiming things are THCA in those shops, and then they're going in there testing them. If it ain't, then like they're doing that kind of stuff more than anything, from my understanding. But I don't know for sure, because there was one just in on Delmar in St. Louis. On Delmar in St. Louis today, just got raided.
Got raided today. Matter of fact, the big shop that was selling, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, it was the shop that was selling those like $50 ounces or something.
Mm-hmm.
Got raided.
THCA ounces?
Yeah, THCA ounce, $50 or something. Quarters for like $20 or something.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
From my understanding, they went in and tested it, and it was not as marked, and they were just throwing her about.
I'm buying the whole THCA thing, because I mean, like, isn't all cannabis THCA? I mean, until it gets
we'll find out from our guest next week,
right?
Well,
although
until it's THCA is pulled early. A little bit.
THCA is in every plant, but because the government has defined it through the Farm Bill, defined THCA and THC through the Farm Bill, it left a gray area,
right?
And that gray area is being exploited, because now on the hemp side you can grow low THC plants but high THCA plants, and
so
it's legal.
So couldn't I just say anything in my garden is technically a THCA plant? I mean, I don't know.
Technically, yeah. Like technically, if you got raided, if police came, you can claim that those are all hemp plants.
Yeah, I mean, right now it does. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm under my plant count, but yeah. I mean, it just like that. It just seems just so weird. You know, I mean,
it's a brutal dichotomy in the industry. And it's we love the cannabis plant, and we advocate in both industries for minority involvement in both industries. So it has its pros for the hemp industry and its cons for the marijuana industry.
Right.
And until they until the government redefines this, the farm bill changes.
Well, and there
it's a
are
brutal game
multiple
right now. It's a brutal
ways
game.
of testing cannabis for cannabinoids and whatnot. And one of those testing processes involves heat. So if you're involving heat in the process to test
And
your
that's when it converts.
THC, then you're already going to convert all that THCA into THC.
Yep.
So your number is going to be skewed. So if that testing method uses heat, then you're never going to get an accurate reading.
So we just had another product recall because of hemp products trying to be passed into the marijuana market. It shows that we have a supply need in the Missouri market, but it obviously shows that it's trying to be filled with hemp products.
Right.
And most of these hemp products have ran hot and they need to offload them. So,
Well,
it's a brutal game out there.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if the stuff you're getting in a gas station, they don't care about your health. They just want money. So they're probably
did you hear about
that was produced in China, and they're using the hemp to, strip the land of toxins. And now that's in your hemp.
They had a recall on some vape pens that were tested and had fentanyl recently.
Really?
In Missouri?
Yeah. No, not in Missouri. I think this was New York, but this was something that happened recently.
Okay, yeah.
In the gray market, or in the like at those non-official bodegas type places?
I think it was the real market. Like, it was one of these companies. It was probably added fentanyl to their product.
Wow.
Okay, so I also wanted to we're talking about this, so I wanted to take a moment. We're getting Aaron, and I'm sorry if I'm saying his last name wrong, Scalia next week from Druid Apothecary. They're doing the THCA thing in Missouri. So he's going to be our guest next week. We'll be able to drill him and get some accurate information about exactly how this works, hopefully from him. Because I had tried to drill him for some questions and stuff, and he was just like, this is just all kind of unregulated. And, so we'll be able to get some questions. Do you know him, Alex?
No, I know the guy that owns the abduction dispensaries. There's like a chain of 3 or 4 of them now at this point that are all the THCA dispensaries.
Are they around Kansas City, or do you know where they're at?
There's not one in Kansas City. I think I'd have to check all their locations. They're mid-state and towards St. Louis.
So anyway, we're going to be able to talk to him next week. He's supposed to be on the show. Him and his partner may come on. I met them at Irish Fest. They were there. They had a table. They were trying to talk about their stuff, and they're part of the market. And just like these little events and stuff are part of the market. They're not part of the market that Magnificent Messiah and I are trying to be in, but they're part of the market. They're part of the real story. They're part of what's really happening. And I'm not afraid to tell those stories and cover that stuff. And I guess something that I want to kind of address
on the 31st. That's what I'm doing.
I should have addressed this earlier. Is I'm starting to get some drama in the community because, and I knew it was just a matter of a time before this happened, because I'm promoting one group and another group, I have somebody on a group or a person on the show, and another group or person doesn't like that group or person. And now they think I'm against whatever they're doing. So I've had some feedback. I've actually had people approach me and say, "Oh, you should be careful about who you're having on your show." I'm not about that. I'm not about that drama at all. I think everybody has a valid story to tell, and I'm not picking any sides, and I'm not dealing with any of that kind of drama. So, I whatever your story is, if you're going to come in here and tell your story and speak from the heart, man, I love to tell your story. Our guest tonight, Alex Jordan, was great.
I know how they can all feel threatened because we totally broke the internet that time where we had 19 people watching our live.
Right. I know.
Just destroyed. Yeah. That was all you. Yeah. We destroyed the internet. So,
that video got over 100 hits.
The big 19. I mean, that's one less than 20.
Right.
That's massive.
So yeah, and I have a tiny following, and people are already trying to draw me into their drama, and I'm just not having it. I'm a business. I got to remain neutral. I can't say I like this group over that group. I want to tell every group story. So if I'm telling a group story that you don't like, maybe you should message me so I can tell your story too.
What happened?
And
Hold
then
on.
we can
I
have
had a
multiple sides of
pause.
the same
What
story,
happened?
and that's great. Clarity through transparency.
Oh, you'll have to watch the replay, Magnificent. Sorry, you missed it. You snooze, you lose.
Man, I just heard somebody bad mouthing somebody or something.
I got some, and I knew this was going to happen. You've seen this happen to me before, Magnificent Messiah, when I'm trying to kind of moderate, when I'm having people on the show. I've had somebody approach me and say, hey, you need to watch who you're having on your show. This person is this way, and they're doing that, and they're saying this, and blah, 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 right? And I've had to say, hey, look, everybody has a valid story to tell in the community. I'm not getting involved in anybody's drama, and I'm not taking any sides. Everybody's got a valid story to tell, and I'm here to tell everybody's story. As long as they're telling truth and they have something interesting to tell, I'm happy to tell that story. And I'm happy to pimp Alex's brand. He's got something that he wants to do. He's trying to sell something, especially in the Missouri community. I love to come to everybody's event. If I come to an event and another group doesn't like that event, they're going to start saying, oh, slightly important opinions of Dave doesn't like our event. It's not like that at all.
You just gotta ignore all that shit, man. As much as
that,
Missouri's a
you gotta ignore all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just wanted to kind of address it, just to say, hey, look,
we got a lot of haters.
I'm not playing that. Just
if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. So
that's right. Cat Williams says you gotta continue getting haters.
Yeah,
if you're not recruiting haters daily,
accumulate more of them.
That's right.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Magnificent Messiah.
And all the haters out there,
just looking
if you're
for somebody
watching
to
the
hate on,
podcast,
please.
we would appreciate it if you would hit the dislike button if you're a hater. Okay.
Yeah. Hate on me,
please. And you know what? You can also comment as well as to why you hate us.
Comments.
Okay. So remember, very important. Dislike the
we love a diverse community
and leave a comment. And you know what? You might want to subscribe so that way you can dislike all of our podcasts.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Comment
on all of them for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
Magnificent Messiah was a witness to a meeting that I had where everybody came out and freaking hated me. The haters came out of the freaking woodwork on that one, and Master Yoda's seen that video too.
Was that that was the phone call, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I got creamed for 45 minutes. People were slandering me, lying on me.
So much contention
on my own call.
Yeah, exactly, and disrespect. It was just not a good show for the micro network community as a whole. The problem is, I think in Missouri, there's a lot of different groups that are trying to represent the entire collective, and it's like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the Wild West.
We need one organization that really can lead the collective, and we don't have that. I don't.
And the group that we have now is not that group. The groups that we have now are not the groups.
My knowledge, and neither one of them.
Kind of all these micro licenses really going and happening, and then once that happens, I think that all those groups are eventually gonna find that one is gonna eventually be the one that's the one that kind of represents everybody, or the best of.
I would like to say publicly right now that the Missouri Micro Business Association claims to represent the Missouri community, but they do not at all. They do not represent me or my ideals about how the Missouri micro business community should be run. I'm not part of that.
So. No, we've said before, we don't have. We're trying to build now an actual minority social equity group. Other than that, we have no association with any of the associations that claim to represent us. We don't. We just want to avoid all the contention and drama, so we can just stay in our own lane. So we've made.
We're just doing some podcasts and trying to run a business.
It's not a part of any association at this point. We are trying to build one, though. We are trying to build one. a reputable one. But till then, it is what
And
it
you know,
is.
there's no reason why there can't be more than
down here in Southeast Missouri. Sorry, down here in Southeast Missouri, man. At least the in-person community, like for events and stuff, is really really good.
Cool.
Really
That's right
really
on.
good.
That's nice.
I've run into issues when I've gone over to KC side.
All over Missouri.
What's that, Alex?
What's that? I said I've run into issues over on the KC side, vendors talking shit on other vendors and all this stuff, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like people will come to the table if I got flour and shit there, and it's like I don't have what they want them. They're like, oh, do you have this strain? I'm like, I don't, but that dude down there does. I'm not being like, oh, his sucks. Go you push buy mine. That's what I saw over in KC. So I was like, fuck that side of the state. That's why I'm over here more.
Let me ask you, because I've gone to a couple of these events in my state, and you know, where there's vendors there, and I don't know that I would really be comfortable buying anything from pretty much any of them. And the reason why is, you know, one, it's totally the gray market.
Right.
And
Right.
two, when I talk to them, I'll always ask, oh, did you grow this? And it's no. Where did it come from? And some of them will be like, oh, it's California, it's this, it's that. One guy
you're
was
going to the
selling
wrong events.
$50 ounces.
True,
I'm
right,
thinking
yeah.
Like
you know,
like the event that I'm doing on the 31st, the Canacraft, is I handpicked quite a few of the flower vendors that I know personally, that I know grow everything that's on their table. I know
Right.
how they grow it, whether they're organic, DWC, if they're outside, inside, whatever. I know all that information.
right.
So I stack some tables with people that I know for a fact are doing it right, not important and all that shit.
Yeah, and that I would feel comfortable buying from if I was going to buy. But if it, you know, kind of like a farmer's market. But if I don't, if I don't know, if you're not the person growing what you're selling, then I can't trust what you're selling.
Exactly.
Hell, sometimes when they're growing it, you can't trust it.
Yeah,
Sure,
because I don't, it got to you, so it got to you through a back door, and if it got to you through a back door, then clearly they're not ethically growing anyways, because they're not ethically selling their products, and so I mean, it just goes down the line, right? So I mean,
you could be doing organic living soil and everything right, and if you don't get yourself tested, you don't know. There could be heavy metals or mold or pesticides or herbicides that blew in from somebody else's crop and contaminated your stuff. I mean, you don't know.
In an outside grow, for sure. Yeah.
If you're outdoor, yeah. If you're indoor, there's a lot less chances of that.
Greenhouse or indoor, but yeah.
And I would imagine that if you're growing in living soil, is there a potential that heavy metals could be in your soil? Because that's in that's in kind of, I mean, you're talking about kind of like the biological side of like ground up bone, or it's kind of more at a molecular structure. So there's
gonna be an extent of heavy metals everywhere.
Right.
Now it's that's one of the fallacies about flushing your plants, is like people say, oh, flush your plants, you get all the heavy metals in this house. But the heavy metals, they don't go anywhere. They're not moving. Right. Once they're in there, they're in there. But that's a whole different topic of the not flushing. But yeah, heavy metals are going to be there regardless to an extent. You can limit it a little bit, but even doing full organic everything, I mean, it comes down to
you can have
you can get heavy metals in it if you
Well, yeah. There's acceptable.
You can get heavy metals in your, so if you use a fucking metal pitchfork to stir it.
Yeah.
Like,
you agitate some little metal pieces off and have heavy metal in it.
Right. And if you're afraid of the heavy metals, well, okay, use a plastic fork, and now you're getting microplastics in it.
Right.
So I mean,
exactly. So
Yeah, Alex, right. You're gonna have some extent of heavy metals, but now
Yeah.
you can manage your soil blend where you can minimize the
Right.
amount
Right.
of metals that may be an acceptable amount in your state.
Right.
So we're working
But-
on a proprietary soil blend that absolutely minimizes heavy metals that will absolutely be under Missouri's heavy metal
Right, but
acceptable content.
couldn't some of those heavy metals just come in your fertilizers? If you're
Yep.
getting, I mean, I'm sure
Depends how
there's
they were
heavy metals
processed.
in
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Roots Organic, and there's probably heavy metals in, what's the Mr. Canuck line that he pushes?
We don't use any fertilizers, or we're
Gaia
all
Green.
organic.
Gaia
So all
Green,
our ingredients we're very specific
right.
Oh, excuse me.
in our
Yep.
feeding regimen.
Right. But you're looking for something very specific, right? And there's a lot of people that just want to be able to say that they grow organic weed,
Yeah, totally.
right? And
But
they're
it's not
and
as
they're
hard.
buying, they're going to their hydro store and they're buying a box of this powder and this amendment and this amendment, and they're out in this stuff, and and so I mean, like, that's what I mean by, like,
Then they mix it in a metal wheelbarrow.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah. So I mean, just because I think sometimes when people purchase organic anything, they are making an assumption that they are always getting a safer product, and I don't think that that's always the case.
That's right. No, I absolutely agree with you. It can be deceiving.
Yes.
Part of our marketing and branding strategy now is to really define the word organic. We're at our kind of early stages with it, but yeah, we are as a part of our strategy, making sure that we use the right words to define and explain what we mean, but when we say organic,
right,
and really it's just a tactic because we can't even use that word on our package.
You're gonna find things that are even OMRI listed that aren't actually organic.
When you're looking at amendments for your soil, are you looking at any Big O for it?
No.
Any what?
No. Big O? These Big O nuts.
No, I'm not. I'm just letting you know. You see me? I said no off the rip. You hear me? Because I know it's not in our blend ingredient. Shit.
I'm
Fair
sorry,
enough.
I had to break up the tension, guys. I'm gonna have to call it.
But I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, cyanide is organic.
You got pesticides and shit, man.
Yeah.
You got no.
Brenton, thoughts on Fox Farm? Fox Farm is all right if you're kind of just starting and wanting a base just to go for your first time or two. But I would definitely look into building your own soils up a bit.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to grow with soil, I kind of think you're crazy not to try to do the living soil.
Oh, Brenton. I think Brenton. If I know who Brenton is, he's another micro business guy, by the way.
For your soil, that eliminates, a true living soil ecosystem. Eliminates some of these fertilizers that you got. So I've tried all. I have experience in all the different growing styles and mediums. So I don't hate on anybody's hustle.
No.
I don't want to get, I don't want to put that out there like that. But we just prefer to serve our consumers what we want. And we want just clean input, clean output, none of the anybody's synthesized ingredient blends.
Yeah. And I think that's totally cool. I mean, that's and that's all growing style.
Yeah, totally. Now, then he said comparatively, Brenton, I had a lot of experience with advanced nutrients. Was when I was in those type of systems. So I was heavy in the advanced nutrients catalog, and if memory serves me correctly, they had an organic line that was actually pretty decent. So
Okay, guys, you're gonna have to let me cut in right here. I'm calling it. The podcast
right.
is over. I've been trying to cut in for the last 10 minutes to call this. My wife's trying to go to bed so she can go. She's got to go to work the next day. So I would like to give Alex Jordan a last chance to pimp his brand and contact information.
Yep.
And any
Check
events
me
you
out.
might have in the future.
for sure.
What's that?
Where can people find you? And do you have any events that are upcoming in the future you want to let people know about?
Yep. You can find me at mythicgenetics.com. Got Canacraft in Farmington, Missouri on the 31st of this month. That's going to be an awesome show. Got some live music, got some rounds of Canna Bingo going, got a FICO processing class and all that happening there. So a whole bunch of stuff going on there.
Do you need somebody
So
to
doing
come and
that,
do a
that one's
live
going to be a good
stream
one.
for your event?
I'm gonna ask you a question off the when we
that
do,
one-
are we done live? Are we off live? Are we back in the
No,
background?
no,
Not
we're
yet.
trying to end the show. We're trying to end the show. I'm trying to give everybody
okay,
give their
I'm gonna ask them when
contact
we done with
information
this, then.
so I can end this bitch and get out of here so my wife can go to
I
bed
asked
and go to
them for you,
sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Master Yoda, it's your
Instagram,
turn. Give your contact information.
Mythic_genetics. Facebook groups, Mythic Genetics.
Master Yoda, give your contact
Master Yoda
information.
207 pretty much anywhere. All right.
Right on.
Instagram, Dear Owl Family Farms, Magnificent the Messiah. Website
right.
coming soon.
Did you have something that you wanted to be on the show before we end the show, Magnificent Messiah, or is this some off the show
it's
topic?
It's off. Yeah, it's off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to click the in the stream button here. There's not been a cat's butthole on the whole show. We've seen a lot of cats, but no buttholes. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
Great show.
All right.
Shout out Mythic Genetics.
Yep. Stay tuned. Alex, we'll have a little conversation after the show ends here, offline here.
All right.
Sounds good.
Oh, here comes Carl. He's going to do it again. Oh, Carl, come on. That was so 1980s, man. Stop.